Hey everyone, I'm Kayla and Crystal is behind the scenes right now, and today we're going to perform the 1 mile walk test. A 1 mile walk test is used to predict the cardiorespiratory fitness and accommodates individuals of different ages and fitness levels. The 1 mile walk test is a field test that requires little equipment and can be done just about anywhere. During the test, the person walks as fast as possible on a measured track while wearing a heart rate monitor, and your heart rate is measured at the end of the mile. There are a couple of equations that can be used to measure your VO2, such as the 1 mile walk equation for adults, the Rockport 1 mile walk for adults, and the 1 mile walk equation for college students. However, today we'll be looking at the equation for the Rockport 1 mile walk, and at the end of the video we'll show you how to calculate your VO2. Now Crystal will describe how to properly put on your heart rate monitor.
This is the heart rate monitor used for the 1 mile step walk. So we put on our watch first. We do have this band that goes around your rib cage. It does have an adjustable waistband, so this is how we would put it on. It does have to be on skin contact. It wouldn't be over your clothes, but just for the video purpose. And we put it on like this to make sure it is fitted to you. We have the watch. On the watch, in order for the heart rate monitor to catch the heart rate, we would push this button to activate it. It does take a couple of seconds for it to pick up your heart rate. If for some reason the band doesn't take your heart rate within those few seconds, it is recommended that we wet the waistband and then put it back on our rib cage, and it should start working. We do reset the watch once that is done, and it should start working the proper way. On the test day, participants warm up by stretching and slow walking. If you have a large group setting, several people can walk at the same time. Explain the procedure and remind participants not to speed up at the end of the walk, but to maintain speed throughout. When the time says go, start the stopwatch. Each participant should have the partner standing at the start and finish line with the watch to record time. The partner counts the laps and tells the participant at the end of each lap how many more laps to walk. The timer calls out the minutes and seconds as each person finishes a mile. The partner listens for the time when the walker finishes a mile and records it to the nearest second immediately on the scorecard. The walker takes a 10-second heart rate immediately after the end of the mile walk.
Okay, Crystal is going to demonstrate how not to walk on the track. Now Crystal will show you how not to run on the track.
Kayla will now demonstrate the proper brisk walk.
The equation you use to calculate VO2 max after you've performed your 1 mile walk test. So where it says weight, you would just enter your body weight using pounds. Where it says age, you would just put in how old you are. Where it says sex, you would actually put a 0 if you're a female and a 1 if you're a male. A time is calculated using minutes and hundreds of minutes. So for example, if you were to complete the walk in 18 minutes and 45 seconds, to convert to hundredth of minutes, you would divide 45 by 60. Therefore, you could input 18.75 into that equation. And your heart rate is calculated at the end of the walk, and you'll record that, and you'll just put that in that equation as well. So I don't know if anyone remembers back in elementary school, there was this acronym that they made us use in order to remember long equations like this, and it was called PEMDAS. I remember it stood for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting, and that kind of just gave you a guideline to follow in order to do these equations. So basically, since P stood for parentheses, you would do whatever was in the parentheses first. And then after that was exponents, and then you have M for multiplication. So basically, you could just times the weight by the 0.0769, and you would go ahead and continue that for the entire equation. So you multiply your age by the 0.3877 and the sex by 6.315 and so on. So once you calculate that first, then you'll go ahead and do the entire math. So you'll do like 132.853 subtract whatever number you got, calculating your weight in 0.0769, and you'll just do that all the way through. And when you finish that calculation, that should give you your VO2 max. So this right here are some additional equations you can use to also calculate your VO2 max. The one we just talked about, the Rockport 1 mile, I believe it's for adults that are between the ages of 30 and 69. So right here, if you are a college student and you wanted to do this test, you could go ahead and use this equation. And also for the VO2 max for adults, if you're not a college student, but you're not between the ages of 30 and 69, you can go ahead and use this equation as well. So basically, it'll just work the same way using that same PEMDAS acronym that we talked about. So you would just use whatever's in the parentheses first, and then you'll go ahead and do your entire equation. For gender, it's the same thing. It's 0 for females, 1 for males. Your weight is in pounds. You calculate your walk minute the same exact way in hundreds of minutes. And then you would also just input your heart rate and just do that calculation. That should give you your VO2 max.